The funny thing is, I don't know if any of that is going to be anywhere.
Well, it's in our heads now.
It is. It sure is.
Yeah, we can't get rid of it.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah. Okay, so I already did 10 seconds of silence, so this is Matt Hurt at Obsessive Viewer on Twitter.
This is Tiny at Obsessive Tiny on Letterboxd.
And this is ObsessiveViewer.com's The Obsessive Viewer Podcast. And welcome to The Obsessive Viewer. We're a movie and TV podcast that covers a specific topic, be it genre, trope, movie, or show. Each episode, for a second I thought I said Pacific. You can find more of our work at ObsessiveViewer.com, more of our podcasts at ObsessiveViewer.com/podcasts. You can also like us on Facebook and join the Facebook group at Facebook.com/TheObsessiveViewer. You can also follow us on Letterboxd at Obsessive Viewer, Obsessive Tiny, and at I Am Mike White. And finally, you can support us on Patreon at patreon.com/obsessiveviewer at the minimum rate of $1 per month for an exclusive RSS feed with content recorded specifically for Patreon supporters. And speaking of Patreon supporters, Ben Sears is here with us today. He is our guest. I don't know why I said it like a question. How's it going, Ben?
Pretty good.
Good.
How's it going?
Good. How'd you feel about the Patreon stuff that we just recorded?
Wonderful.
Nice.
Everyone should check it out.
Yes.
It's worth the investment.
Yes. We didn't even have to bring the gun out this time.
Yeah.
That's awesome.
He's actually paying us.
Yeah. That's great. Yeah. That's awesome. So, well, thank you once again for coming on the show, Ben, and also for all of your work on the website. You have been contributing since October?
Sure, that sounds about right.
August? At a certain point.
September, I think.
Okay.
Maybe August. Yeah.
Do you remember the 21st night of September? Anyone?
Yeah. Earth, Wind, Fire.
Anyway.
I'm just not going to respond.
All right. Okay. Hey, now. We're all stars. So anyway, okay. Today on the podcast, we're going to do an Adam Driver double feature. We're gonna have a double Driver-in feature. I can't do a pun on his name. It sucks.
You could say this is the month of Driver-sember.
I'll allow it. Okay. Yeah. Okay. But yeah, it is Adam Driver's year and his month, really, because he just had The Report and Marriage Story, and he has some movie coming out next week too. Mm-hmm. It's Star Wars: The Rise of Skywalker. But today we're going to be talking about The Report and Marriage Story. Spoiler for our review, one of those movies is a very big frontrunner for my movie of the year, and the other one is a movie I don't even really remember all that well. But yeah, so anyway, what's up? Any new business or anything we need to go over? There's a couple news things I can bring up, but how do you guys feel?
Pretty good. I forgot that the Golden Globe nominations came out.
I forgot about
that. They
too.
sure did.
I was perusing that. There's just some goofball stuff in there.
You know, it's the Golden Globes are kind of known for that, but I think it's not nearly as bad as it has in years past.
Sure, yeah.
I agree.
There's no, like, The Tourist.
That's the one I was going to reference.
Yeah.
As like a musical or comedy, I think.
Yeah.
I think did they nominate The Farewell as a musical or comedy?
The Farewell.
That sounds right.
I want to say they did, and like
I think Awkwafina might have even been nominated.
She got nominated, yeah.
Yeah.
Best, I'm looking right here.
Which I'm
musical or comedy.
Supportive of.
No, The Farewell did not get nominated for Best Picture, musical or comedy. Did not.
Okay. Huh. Interesting.
But there are some people.
Was it nominated for drama? Because what I was getting at was I didn't feel like The Farewell was a comedy.
No, it's nominated for neither.
You didn't think The Farewell was a comedy?
Not at its most. Not in terms of like its focal genre. Like, I kind of felt like, I mean, it's a movie about a woman going back to her homeland and having that kind of crisis of consciousness, and like her family not telling her grandmother about her impending death.
I don't know. I think you could make an argument for a comedy.
Sure.
There's certainly some funny parts.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, that's fair. I probably should see it again, honestly.
Same here.
Yeah.
Daniel Craig's nominated for Knives Out.
Oh, nice.
Which is awesome.
Nice.
But that's the only acting nomination for Knives Out?
Yeah.
Isn't that crazy? Which I think is ridiculous, because that... Oh, I'm sorry. Ana de Armas is also nominated.
That's right.
Thankfully. That's
yeah.
good. So,
she was so great in it.
She was.
Yeah.
Can I make a bold prediction for the Oscars?
Okay.
I think that Knives Out will be a Best Picture nominee.
Oh, that would be interesting.
I don't know how confident I am of that now that the Golden Globes are out, but
yeah,
I think it has a chance.
Rian Johnson was not nominated, which is bullshit.
Yeah.
Well, not for director. I haven't gotten to writers yet.
Oh, okay.
But anyways, yeah.
Yeah, anyway.
Noah Baumbach nominated for screenplay. That's
nice. Good. God, I can't wait to talk about that movie. Yeah, in other news, also while we're scanning the nominees and everything, the trailer for Ghostbusters Afterlife came out. Did you guys watch that?
I did.
Yeah.
Okay, what do you guys think? Are you guys fans of Ghostbusters?
Yeah. I mean, I like the original. The second one's a bit goofy, but and like there was the controversy over the remake and stuff, and I thought it was fine. It was a decent movie. But this looks more in line with the original too. And some people are just like flipping out, and they're so excited, and I'm just like, oh yeah, it looks all right. I'll see it. I'm not over the moon about the trailer or anything.
Right.
But seeing their vehicle and stuff was that was pretty cool.
Okay, Ben, how about you?
I've never seen any of them.
Oh,
really?
Interesting.
Wow.
Okay.
Oops.
That's shocking.
Yeah. Did you watch the trailer though?
Yeah.
Did it?
I mean, I know. Obviously, I know enough about I've seen like the end of the original Ghostbusters. I've seen bits and pieces of I think the second one, whichever one had the painting that was haunted or something.
The second one.
Okay.
Yeah.
I've seen bits and pieces of that. But never all the way through. I was at the library today and I considered renting the first one. But I didn't. So, I don't know. It comes out in what, June?
I want to say April.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah. Depending on what else is going on that time of year, I might go and see it. I might just wait till it's on DVD.
Sure. I kind of came to the realization maybe a year or two ago that Ghostbusters is one of those things that it's a cultural touchstone for a lot of people our age.
Yeah.
And it's something that I think the first time I watched Ghostbusters from beginning to end was maybe 7 or 8 years ago, maybe 6 or 7 years ago, in Evansville they were screening it in the theater, and I was watching it with Mike. And it's fine. I'm not going to pretend like it's the greatest comedy of all time or anything. It just, I'm so indifferent to that entire franchise. I enjoyed the 2016 one. And I got irritated, but also somewhat humored at the ridiculous backlash over it. Because people are idiots. But yeah, it was, and that one was fine. I enjoyed it, but I'm like, I couldn't really care much less about the new one. I'm just indifferent to it. The stuff before, in the trailer, the stuff before it was a, Ghostbusters movie, I was like, oh, this is actually, aesthetically, it looks pretty cool, but yeah. I'm just like, okay, yeah, cool, there's a ghost trap, neat, alright, fine. Yeah, it was, we'll see.
Yeah, we'll see.
Yep. So, anything else in news? Oh, Pizza, what did you think of Ghostbusters? I don't care. It certainly is my cat.
You like the female representation.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. God, she's so pretty. Anyway, yeah. So on Patreon, by the way, we did do a little Patreon exclusive recording where we talked about the rest of the year, movies we're looking forward to, all that stuff. So yeah, to access the Patreon stuff, go to patreon.com/obsessiveviewer and pledge $1 or more. If you pledge $5, you get access to videos of us talking. So, yeah. So let's get into our reviews. Which one do you guys want to review first? We've got The Report and Marriage Story. What do you guys want to talk about first?
Let's start with The Report.
The Report?
That sounds good.
Yeah. All right.
After 9/11, everyone was scared. Scared it might happen again.
Obvious terrorist attack.
It was my second day of grad school. Next day, I changed all my classes to national security.
Morning, Dan.
Morning, Senator.
Have you seen the story today in the New York Times?
Evidently, the CIA destroyed tapes of interrogations of Al-Qaeda detainees.
I want to find out what was on the tapes and why they were destroyed.
No paper.
Paper is a way of getting people in trouble at our place.
At our place, paper's how we keep track of laws. Last night I found that.
Tiny, do you want to hit us with the plot description courtesy of IMDb?
I'd be happy to. Idealistic Senate staffer Daniel J. Jones, tasked by his boss to lead an investigation into the CIA's post-9/11 detention and interrogation program, uncovers shocking secrets.
Ooh. The movie is currently available on Amazon Prime. It's an Amazon Studios release. Director, Tony?
Director is, wait for it, Scott Z. Burns.
Scott Z. Burns. Did he
Director
write it
and
too?
writer.
And writer, yeah.
Nice.
Yep.
Starring Adam Driver and Annette Bening?
Correct.
Bening,
And
yes.
John Hamm.
Yes, that's right.
Yeah, it's got a good cast.
It does. It does. I'll get us kicked off.
He's the writer of the new James Bond movie.
Oh, really?
Wow.
Wow. We should have talked about that trailer
Yeah,
too.
that's another trailer that came out.
Yep.
Looks
Yeah.
pretty cool.
Yeah. Oh, it looks good. Anyway. Yeah, this movie, I'll get us kicked off. We'll do a non-spoiler review. Maybe we won't even do a spoiler review. I don't know. We'll kind of play it by ear, but check the show notes. I didn't really care for this movie at all.
Yeah.
I felt like it was very dry, and it's a very procedure-driven, dry kind of recounting of the report about the enhanced interrogation techniques, torture and everything. And it kind of goes through the chronology, I guess. It does. And like in a way that makes it like the way it shows us the chronology spanning years of this report and stuff. I'm like, okay, there's got to be a better way to show this.
Yeah, for real.
There's literally a timeline.
Yes.
Yeah.
And it's just, it didn't do anything for me. So, yeah, what did you guys think, kind of in broad terms?
I would say, like, to agree with you, I'd say there was barely a story here, frankly.
Yes.
I mean, the story is that the federal government tortured people and tried to cover it up and stuff like that. That's the story, but the story we got is about a Senate staffer who uncovers that story. And it's not that interesting, frankly. You know, I think if they had gone for a more Zero Dark 30 type angle, where it's like, let's sort of see how this play. Like, the most interesting part was how, like, some of the psychological justification of the people who perpetrated these acts and how they kind of hashtag science, like shoehorned hashtag science into this theory of enhanced interrogations like that. I found that part interesting, and those characters interesting. But that was a small part of the movie and not really what the movie was about. You know,
Right.
It was a shame because I was interested in that story. But yeah, I feel like it was just, I mean, if it weren't for like the reenactments and stuff of the torture, which sounds terrible, but if it wasn't for that, I'd probably have fallen asleep.
Yeah.
And just, I mean, otherwise it's people reading documents.
And those were hard to watch scenes.
Absolutely. Yeah.
It's funny you mentioned Zero Dark 30 because there's literally a scene where someone sees the opening of Zero Dark 30 and they talk about it.
Right. Yeah.
That's how interesting the movie is. It is commenting on other movies.
Yeah.
Yeah. Ben, how do you feel about it overall?
I didn't dislike it as much as you guys. I will agree it is very dry, very procedural. It's almost like an extended news article that plays out over almost 2 hours. I mean, there's really no characters. There's Annette Bening as Diane Feinstein. John Hamm is some congressional staffer, I think. He's Obama's chief of... I know eventually I think he became Obama's chief of staff, but I don't think he was in this movie. But like Adam Driver, he doesn't really get any kind of characterization. Like the only thing that you learn about him is that he works too much to have any relationships or family or anything. He's basically like like most movies, like there's like a scene where they spell out like why they're doing this or why they're so committed to this. But this movie doesn't have that. He's basically just like Justice Bot 3000, and he's just in this windowless room for 5 years and going through millions of pages of documents, and you don't really understand why he dedicates that much time of his life to doing this.
Yeah. And they don't even like showcase it in an interesting way either. Like there's no like I think of something like the deposition scenes in The Social Network. Like David Fincher did an incredible job just showing like making like Fincher and Sorkin did a great job of showing like moving up like making it more entertaining than it has any right to be, and that type of thing was missing entirely from the report.
He needed a sounding board to bounce ideas off of. Another character, like a wife or a friend, and he didn't have it.
To kind of piggyback off of what you were saying, Matt, like frame it as like the congressional hearings. Frame it that way.
Oh yeah.
But it's really just a chronological... And
they try to do that a little bit in kind of a... oh, God, what was the... Oh, Snowden was the name of the movie. In kind of a Snowden-esque way. Like, it shows him taking the report and leaving. And it's like, that's the opening scene of the movie. And then that is supposed to give us enough intrigue and interest to follow us through this kind of bland monotony of a story. But it was not intriguing enough or set up well enough to make it anything that would catch my attention personally.
So Snowden was way better.
And it's just it's a waste of Adam Driver because he's really great.
I liked him in this. I just there just wasn't much behind his character. I mean, he made the most of what he was given, but what he was given wasn't all that much.
I agree.
And I don't know that much about Diane Feinstein to know if that was like a solid impression of her. Or, I mean, she was believable enough. But, and I was trying to think of this. I don't know if I've seen Annette Bening in any other movies, so I don't know if I can compare this to any of her other performances.
She's pretty good. I'm a fan. Like she, like, you know, American Beauty. Stuff like that. She was in the, that movie a few years ago where she was, married to, tanking right now. She was in a lesbian relationship. She was married to a woman, and they had a couple of kids. What was that freaking movie called?
The Kids Are All Right.
The Kids Are. That might be it.
With Ruffalo, I think.
Julianne Moore. She's married to Julianne Moore and Mark Ruffalo. Yeah, she was great in that. I think she's a great actress. But yeah, she was, and she got nominated for a Golden Globe for this. I don't get that one. Even if it was an accurate portrayal, she was just so blasé and drab, and she was politician-y. You know, that's one of the things I kind of liked about the movie, with my libertarian sensibilities, is that she was like this career politician who, anytime she had the opportunity to really be edgy, she kind of, or, you know, make waves, she backed off for the most part. You know, there could have been some earth-shattering information released that she could have been at the forefront of several times throughout the movie. And she really just kind of makes a stand at the end for a watered-down version, a waterboarded-down version of this report and all the findings from this kid. So I wasn't really impressed with her in this movie, but I liked that fact how she was kind of exposed, I guess, or sort of made to look. It was sort of held against her how much she reined in this report, and because she has to get reelected and shit like that, you know, she has to maintain her image, and she can't piss off too many people and stuff like that. And I feel like that's part of the problem with our system, if you will, not to get political. Fuck the man, you know.
Like I said, I feel like this was I liked the realism that the script had, because it felt like there wasn't one of those moments where like you felt like it was a bridge too far, or like something happened where you didn't really like. The most outlandish part of this is like when the CIA breaks into the room where Adam Driver has been working all these years, and they I forget, they plant some evidence or they get access to his documents or whatever. But that actually happened. It's not like something that the screenwriter made up. And it feels very realistic, and a lot of the things that happen in this feel very realistic. Yeah. Maybe a little too much so.
Right.
Maybe, movie like this could stand to have some
dramatization,
right?
Yeah,
some artistic freedom.
And I don't presume to know what all really happened and didn't happen, but like this felt kind of shoehorned in, like the Tim Blake Nelson.
Yes, I was about to mention that
deep throat kind of thing. It's just like, okay, like this isn't All the President's Men. Like,
well, and I thought it was going to be good, and then that just went nowhere.
It went absolutely
nowhere.
Yeah. Yep. I did like, I just want to give a shout out to a supporting actor in this. Douglas Hodge. He played James Mitchell, kind of the guy who was not instigating the torturing and stuff, but he was like one of the ones that spearheaded it and everything. He was in an episode of Black Mirror called Black Museum. And like in this and in Black Museum, he has like the perfect, like, just kind of gross, like, demeanor to him. Like, it seems like he is getting like a perverse satisfaction out of something like deplorable, whether it's in Black Museum or in the report, because he's like, yeah, we can do this. We can, you know, the government signed off on this. We can waterboard them and everything. Which the waterboard scenes were intense. The depictions were horrific. Yeah. What else stands out, if anything?
I don't know.
Should we talk about how Matthew Rhys seems to be typecast now as a reporter?
He really does.
Yeah.
He's in this. He's in
Beautiful Day in the Neighborhood,
right? Yeah. As a reporter, and then The Post. He was. He was like one of the initial guys that like leaked it all.
Oh, that's right. It's a shame that he's a Russian operative, though.
Yeah.
Because he's in The Americans.
Right, that's what I know him from.
Yeah, the first few seasons, yeah.
He's good.
Yeah, he's really good.
Agreed.
Yeah.
Almost too good for this movie.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Because he's in it for what, like 2 scenes, maybe?
I think so, yeah. And it comes so late in the movie that it's just, I was kind of running out the clock, essentially.
And there were so many, but there were more than a few actors, relatively big name, well-known actors in pretty minor roles, or like roles that had nothing. Like Maura Tierney
Yeah, that's right.
She's pretty good. She did not have much to do in this. There was like one scene where she kind of confronted, I think Tim Blake Nelson's character and some other stuff. But like Michael C. Hall,
Oh, yeah.
I mean, had very little to do. Corey Stahl, who I love, was good in his scene, and I enjoyed that scene where he kind of breaks down the reality of defending yourself legally. But yeah, he was on screen for 5 minutes maybe, and Maura Tierney and Michael C. Hall had these like small. They're kind of just reciting lines, like not a lot of acting really.
Right.
It's just kind of surprising.
Same kind of with John Hamm. I mean, he got a little bit more to do, but like there wasn't really anything to his character either.
Yeah, not all that meat.
Jennifer Morrison was also in it.
Right.
I liked. I can't remember his name or the character's name, but he was the CIA director that Obama
Ted Levine,
appointed.
I think is his name.
Was it Ted Levine?
Is that his name?
Yeah, that sounds right.
Yep. Ted Levine.
John
Ted
Brennan, I think is his character.
Yeah, John
you're right.
Brennan.
Yeah. I liked him. He was like, you started out thinking that he was going to be like a do-gooder and a good guy, but he just basically just defended the CIA no matter how realistic it was.
Yeah, I'd fuck him.
What?
What's it called? Silence of the Lambs. Would you fuck me?
Oh,
I'd
yeah.
fuck me hard. That's him.
Wow.
Same guy.
Okay, gotcha.
Buffalo Bill is the CIA director?
The hell? It's a massive error in judgment.
Oh, that's awesome. Yeah, I don't have much else to say about this.
Yeah, I was pretty underwhelmed. And I feel like the story itself, like, I don't remember this report coming out.
No, me neither.
I don't remember this. I remember it just, kind of goes to show you with the visual world we live in now, but I remember when the photos of Abu Ghraib came out, which is mentioned in the movie, that was way more shocking.
Yeah.
But I think that, like, this report probably got lost in the shuffle because, not to be a dick, but it's not as sexy as the photos of Abu Ghraib, and we all kind of knew that this was the case anyways,
Which is why I feel like this story in particular, if they're going to make it into a movie, they should dress it up. They should make it, like give it the pomp that it deserves instead of just having this just dry, monotone kind of thing.
I agree.
Yeah. I don't know. So, top 10 list? Is it going to be on you guys'?
Not so much.
Yeah.
And I didn't hate it either. I don't want it to come off that way. Like I was, it held my attention.
Yeah, I didn't hate it either, but I won't rewatch it.
Yeah.
Even as like viewing it as like a dad movie, which has been kind of a term that's been thrown around the internet, for a few years now from what I've seen. But like just the idea of a dad movie being like a movie just about, maybe a current event or historical thing, and just being just like the kind of quintessential dad movie that I can think of is like Bridge of Spies. Like, just very much just like the type of movie a dad would want to see.
Yeah, I get that.
But even as a dad movie, this doesn't work for me, and I'm a proud father of a cat, but in the shadow of like say Ford v Ferrari, Dawn of Racing, that movie is so much better of a dad movie than this movie, even though they can't really be compared in general. But yeah, I don't know. It just lacked so much to make it engaging and interesting.
Yeah.
This is a banner year for dad movies.
It is. Oh yeah.
Quite a few.
Ad Astra.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
I saw that with my dad, actually.
Oh, nice.
Nice.
And when you do that, there's a special door that opens up at the end and plays Cats in the Cradle.
Oh, nice.
James Gray is there, and he gives you a hug.
Nice. I need to rewatch Ad Astra. I have it on digital. Yeah, I had, and then we'll wrap up and go into our marriage. But But I posted on Instagram, at Obsessive Viewer on Instagram, just like I got Ad Astra on digital, and I intentionally like watched like the first 20 or so minutes, and I was just like, there's a scene in those first 20 or so minutes where he goes to the moon, and there's like an extended moon landing scene and everything, and I'm like, I remember in the theater just thinking like, this is so like, it's like a love letter to Kubrick. And it's like, it is so just like, it's so evocative of 2001. So like, I sat here and, I just took pictures of like certain frames that were very much like 2001. And then I went to my digital copy of 2001 and took pictures and then made collages of them and posted on Instagram.
Wow.
And, well, ladies, I am single, so.
How many likes did that get?
It got a handful, I think.
Still counting.
Yeah. Oh, it's rocketed me to stardom. 6 likes. Shout out to, everyone who liked it. Yeah.
Nice.
But yeah, I'm excited to revisit it. Seriously though, look at it. It's just so pretty. So the report, anything else, or should we go into our marriage story?
I say we go to the marriage story.
Okay, cool. Well, we are going to go ahead and review Marriage Story. We're of course going to do a non-spoiler and spoiler review. So wait a second, Ben, you follow me on Instagram. You didn't like it.
Oops.
I'm just messing with you, kind of. Okay. So anyway, non-spoiler review of Marriage Story and then a spoiler review to follow. Check the show notes if you don't want to be spoiled and everything. So I'll go ahead and bring up the plot summary. Do you have the plot summary, Tiny?
Yeah.
For Marriage Story?
I can do that, yeah.
Okay, cool.
Noah Baumbach's incisive and compassionate look at a marriage breaking up and a family staying together.
Yes. So, Marriage Story is currently on the Netflix, which that's an interesting kind of similarity between these two movies. It's both Adam Driver movies and streaming service exclusive movies.
Yeah.
So yeah, written and directed by Noah Baumbach, starring Adam Driver as Charlie, Scarlett Johansson as Nicole. I can't do an accent on that. And that's all you really need to know. Okay, so, man, I am so pleased to see Marriage Story get such a warm reception on the internet. People have been going crazy about it. I feel vindicated having made the movie. I had no part of it. But no, I saw this movie at Heartland a couple months ago. It was the closing night film, I think. No, it wasn't. It was a special presentation. And man, it just blew me away. I watched it again at work when it hit Netflix. And like there are moments in this movie where I was sitting at work doing my job and listening to it and with headphones and had it propped in front of me. And like I got to like certain scenes and I was like I was trying to control my emotions and I was shaking. Like I was literally shaking. Then my left arm got really numb and tingly and then I passed out and woke up in a hospital. Let's count how many times I made that joke. But no, it's such a beautiful, beautiful movie, incredible performances, incredible writing. Noah Baumbach, this was an incredible, display from him. What did you guys think of Marriage Story?
I had heard people's reactions, and I was like, "Wow, really?" From Noah Baumbach? Okay.
Mm-hmm.
And
You're not a Noah Baumbach fan?
It's not that I'm not a fan. I've just never been blown away by Noah Baumbach.
Which of his movies have you guys seen? Should we start there?
We should.
The Squid and the Whale, I've seen.
I have not seen that. I've seen Mistress America and really liked that.
I've seen Greenberg, Margot at the Wedding, The Life Aquatic. Well, he wrote it. I mean,
okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
Oh, I've seen Kicking and Screaming also.
So I haven't seen the Meyerowitz stories, which I've heard is really good. But
New and Selected, which is the full title. Yeah, sorry.
Oh, okay. I've heard that Francis Ha is great, and I've never seen it.
Mm-hmm.
I hadn't seen any of his movies until about maybe 2 weeks ago.
Okay.
So I tried to watch as many as I could. I could only watch 3. I saw The Squid and the Whale, which I loved. Francis Ha, which I liked, but I don't know. Maybe I just wasn't paying close enough attention. I can see why people like it a lot, but it just wasn't. Maybe I was just in the wrong headspace at the time.
Okay.
And then I saw Kicking and Screaming, which it's okay.
Okay.
Yeah, I think I own the Criterion of Kicking and Screaming. I don't know why. I thought it was okay. And I really like Mistress America, which I actually saw at Indie Film Fest, I think. And yeah, and after seeing Marriage Story, I was like, I need to go back and watch all of his movies. Yeah. Because
I will definitely see more of them. I know most of them are streaming, so I want to see Meyerowitz stories.
New and Selected? Sorry, that's a full title. I'm sorry.
And then maybe I'll see Greenberg at some point.
I think While We're Young is supposed to be pretty good too.
Yeah,
Adam Driver's in that. I think.
Is it While We're Young or When We're? I think it's While. Yeah, you're right.
Yeah. But yeah, so I haven't been I like Squid and the Whale a lot. Like there's a lot of good. He's done some good stuff, but I never saw him being this caliber of writer director. I never thought I was gonna love one of his movies. Yeah. But I loved Marriage Story.
And it's interesting because Mistress America was pretty good, but I remember being just really blown away by one specific scene in Mistress America where it was basically a long take where the camera is just stationary, this in a wide frame of a house. I think it is a loft and downstairs area that's in frame, and it's just all of the concurrent subplots are converging and kind of each thing is happening all continuously. It's one complete take. It's like a theatrical production. It's like a play.
Yeah.
And it is so just really impressive the way that it's done. And I was reminded of that during several scenes in Marriage Story. I'm I remember loving this guy's work. Why do I not watch more of his stuff?
He uses static shots really well, which I didn't know until I saw this. Yeah. Kind of just setting up a camera and then letting an actor do their thing, which I'm a big fan of, especially when you use the right actors. And there was a scene in this movie where Scarlett Johansson's character is meeting her lawyer for the first time, and just the way that the camera's used in that and the way that the actors use the space was just amazing. It's not even it's sort of a long take, but it's not about the fact that it's a long take, if that makes sense.
It's not showy.
No, it's not showy, but it is, the writing was phenomenal, and I've never seen Scarlett Johansson that incredible.
Oh, same
that's
here.
the best acting I've ever seen out of her. And Laura Dern has been one of my top 5 favorite actors for a long time. And Scarlett Johansson completely overshadows her in that scene, which this is a sentence I never thought I would say. I've always liked ScarJo, but I never thought I was gonna be blown away by her like I was with this movie. And that's just one scene of many in this movie, where the glowing talent is just pouring off the screen from the writer, the director, all the performance. It's just the camera work, everything is just being hit out of the park in that scene. And there's more than a handful of scenes like that in this movie.
Absolutely. So, there was a freaking great tweet about that specific scene with ScarJo. Someone said, I was trying to find it, but I can't find it. But anyway, someone posted some tweet saying can you believe this amazing scene with Scarlett Johansson where she's doing this monologue that's like 6 minutes long, and she's moving around, and she's like taking props and everything, and not once does she flub it, or does she have to improv or anything, or has to do anything, doesn't mess up at all. And then like someone retweeted it, was like, I'm freaking dying right now. Has no one seen a play? Like, has no one seen?
That's great.
And I was like, that is just perfect. That's awesome.
That's funny.
But that's not to discredit it at all. Like, it's an incredible scene and everything. I was really tickled by that.
That's funny.
Yeah. But yeah, this movie just, it blew me away. There's a lot of, stuff to really go through on it. But what I loved about it, and I've had extended conversations via text with Mike, our co-host on sabbatical, but, and like he and I have been talking about it, and he loves the movie too. And like one thing that just really strikes me about the movie is that it's about the dissolving of a relationship, and how like the machinations of divorce, like the divorce proceedings, can chip away at what could, or at the outset is meant to be, an amicable split. And what I love about that is that the kind of proceedings, the divorce proceedings themselves, become the antagonist of the movie, as it is trying to rip them apart.
Yeah.
And as the proceedings get more and more contentious, what I love about it is that the camera focuses on the lawyers, or focuses entirely on the faces of ScarJo and Adam Driver, as they're just like stone. Like they're not reacting. They're just letting the fight happen between the lawyers and everything. It's beautifully done.
Yeah.
And there was something else about the big thing that I love about it, and I'm going to struggle to find examples and everything, but the way that they interact separately throughout the movie is just like jaw-droppingly just amazing, because you can see, and this is a testament to the writing, the performing, everything, that you can see the things that made them work together as a couple, as in their marriage, in their relationship, and to see them like interacting with their son individually is showing how, the way I put it to Mike is that you see the shadows of what worked as a family unit, but since they're separate, they're just shadows. And in those shadows, there's like, you can see the void that's kind of forming between them and everything. And it's such a just incredible like trick of storytelling that you can just see this. It's not like literally like you're not seeing shadows and voids and stuff, but like,
right.
Like you can just see how they function, and how them functioning separately is a reflection of how they were as a couple. And it's just impeccable writing, impeccable storytelling. It's just amazing. Yeah.
Well, yeah, I think that's kind of what makes the screenplay so amazing. Like, the movie opens, they're in this mediation, and they're reading these letters about why they love the other person so much, and it starts you off, and you're immediately on both of their sides. Like,
it's such a beautiful opening scene.
Yeah. And there's so many instances here where he could have gone the easy way, but he finds a way to just make it new and realistic and interesting. These feel like so real people. And I think from what I read, I think it's kind of based on like his own divorce with Jennifer Jason Leigh.
Okay.
I mean, a lot of his movies I feel like he pulls from real life experiences. Like The Squid and the Whale was about his parents' divorce, and so this is kind of about his. So it feels very realistic from that standpoint. But like The Squid and the Whale, you kind of like Jeff Daniels' character was kind of the asshole of that movie.
Okay.
More so than the wife. But this one, like, they're both kind of assholes in their own way.
Yes.
So you're not really on one person's side versus another.
And people online, like in social media and stuff, are trying so hard to make it like a Team Who versus Team...
Right.
Take a side.
Yeah, and it's like... I think Scott Tobias tweeted it. The film critic, he tweeted and said something like, "This is not like it's just like that's not constructive to the point of the movie." And I'm like, "Yeah, that's exactly right." Like to choose sides in the narrative of this movie is to completely just ignore the entire point of the movie.
Right.
It's like this is just a couple who are going through a divorce, and how that divorce is how the dissolving of their relationship is, unfolds throughout these divorce proceedings and stuff. It's not a thing where like, oh, this person is right, this person is wrong. It's like, okay, well, these people were together, now they're separate, now they're working to separate legally, and there's a son. I don't know. It's just it's so not a choosing sides kind of thing.
Right. I think that's one of the things I loved about the movie is that they're both right and they're both wrong at the same time.
Yeah.
They both do things incorrectly and make mistakes, but they're both good parents, and they both, I think they love each other and everything, and they're right by each other in certain ways, but they're wrong by each other in others. Like it's...
Yeah, this isn't one of those movies where like you're hoping that they get back together.
Yeah.
Right.
You see pretty clearly like why they are getting divorced and that they probably should be getting divorced.
Yeah.
And there isn't one of those moments where like you think, oh, well, maybe if they do this, then they'll get back together and things will work out.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Adam Driver doesn't rush to the airport at the end in the rain to profess his love to ScarJo.
I one of the things I found, or that maybe I picked up on that wasn't intentional at all, is that I think it showcased a lot of why celebrities get divorced so often. I think when you have two people who are creative and are creative in different ways, I think that creativity is linked to their career, and so their career takes precedence at certain times, but a marriage and fatherhood and motherhood require sacrifice and like hard work, and it's difficult to balance all those things, being a mother or father, being a creative type, and having a career. Like those are 3 tent poles of your life, and I think that's hard to balance all that, and when you have someone whose method of creativity is to kind of control people, being a director, you're kind of a controlling person because it's part of your DNA as a creative type. And she kind of needs to be free as, an actress. That's kind of her thing. And, it's just something I picked up on that, like, it's sort of a staple that, people in Hollywood get divorced a lot.
Yeah.
And we sort of poke fun at it, but I've never really thought about it before. And I kind of thought about it more when I saw this movie. I was like, it kind of makes sense. I kind of get it that, this couple loves each other, and that's not their problem. There's a lot of other things at play, a lot of other irons in the fire. And I think that just seeing it in a non kind of tabloid way, it's not, I didn't see their divorce on the cover of Us Weekly, right? This is so much more detailed and nuanced.
She is an actor, and she's, I don't think she was in like a teen comedy or something.
Right.
But she's not like an A-list actor or anything.
Right.
Plus, to add on to what you were saying, Tiny, like, there's literally an entire country between them because she goes out to LA to shoot a pilot, and he stays in New York because he's directing a movie or a theater play. And so they're literally across the country from each other.
And I love how that comes into play with the lawyers and everything. Like, everything about the like the meetings with the lawyers and everything, because he first meets with Ray Liotta, who I thought like the supporting actors were amazing in this.
Yeah.
And like I love how like how Ray Liotta's character and Laura Dern are both two sides of the same coin to an extent, where they're kind of they're offshoots of the divorce proceedings as a villain, essentially. Like they are kind of instruments of the devil of divorce, for lack of a better word. And they know what's going to happen. They know how it's going to go down. Like Ray Liotta's immediately like, okay, did you file here? Did you do this? Did you do that? And then Laura Dern's like, oh, we're going to get him. Or like, at the end of that scene where she's like, oh, what a fucking asshole.
Yeah.
So great.
And there's this scene in the courtroom where like they each keep bringing up like every little insignificant detail,
right?
And
so
they know what to bring up and what's going to matter to the judge and everything.
It's all about spin,
right?
They spin everything,
right. And we have to talk about one of my honestly, and I'm gonna say this having never seen the show that he's famous for, but one of my just favorite actors, like working that every time I see him, it's just a delight. But Alan Alda, when I first saw this movie, I had no idea he was in it, and then like when he came on screen, like I lit up. I was so happy to see him, and I thought he did great as kind of a more grounded attorney for Charlie. And he was kind of like, the person, like the minion of the divorce proceedings. Not to make it sound like I think divorce is evil. Divorce sometimes is perfectly, the right choice. You would say in this situation probably, but as an antagonistic form in this movie, the third kind of instrument of divorce is Alan Alda's character, who is this older kind of rundown kind of guy who's very gentle and sweet, but still also like, well, what is the court going to think of this?
Right.
He's too nice in a profession where you really can't be nice.
Yeah. And his line where he just looks at Adam Driver, and he's like, you remind me of me during my second divorce. Like, oh, just nailed it.
Yeah.
Nailed it. Also real quick, not to bogart the conversation or anything, but in his office there is a kitty.
There is.
Yeah.
Yep.
I was honestly thinking about keeping a letterbox list of every cat that I see in a movie.
Oh my God.
Next year. So look forward to that. Yeah, what else in non-spoilers can we say? What did you guys think of the kid who played Henry?
He did a good job.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
He's good.
I can't believe I hadn't thought about him much, frankly.
I don't think he really had a whole lot to do.
Mm-hmm.
I don't think. Unless I'm forgetting something.
Yeah, he was very reactionary, and kind of his lines and his actions were more, we were more looking at, how Charlie and Nicole responded to him.
Right.
So yeah, but Azzy Robertson is his name. I also want to mention, I'm looking for her name now. She was in Signs and some other stuff.
Are you talking about
the sister?
ScarJo's mom?
No, the sister.
I can't think of her name.
That whole scene between her and her mom and her sister was hilarious.
I love that.
Amazing.
So great.
So amazing.
And this is a pretty funny movie.
Oh,
it is.
Yeah, absolutely.
Surprisingly funny.
It's a lot of great comedy in it.
And that whole sequence was just so good. Just the way that it all unfolds, like her awkwardness.
Yeah.
And it's not like, kind of the magic of that is that it's not played up like it's this disaster that is about to, like, it's not set up as a means to get her, like it's not like a gotcha thing where it's like, okay, we got to get the papers served to him immediately before he serves us. It's more like well, I'm gonna warn him and everything. Legally it can't come from me. So it's like sets it up that way, and then it just goes awry in the most naturalistic and hilarious and just bomb dropping way.
Yeah.
So good.
It's one of my favorite parts of the movie for sure.
Yeah, and the complete 180 once she actually does serve him.
Oh yeah.
Adam Driver gives.
Even the 180 of when he comes in and he gives her the news that I don't think we should spoil here, but like he says something that completely changes the dynamic of the entire scene.
Yeah.
And just makes it even just all the more kind of just cringeworthy, really. So good. So good.
To go back real quick to Alan Alda, one of my favorite funny parts is, I forget when exactly this is, but he's consulting him, and Alan Alda says something like, if I were representing you, I would do this. And Adam Driver's like, well, you are representing me.
Oh, that's great. Oh, and her name is Merritt Weaver, by the way.
Oh, yeah.
Merritt Weaver, there you go.
Also I love this movie so much. Like, I really do. Like, I don't know if I've been as emotionally affected and impressed, like, in terms of just creative, like, in terms of art. I don't know if I've been as impressed. I mean, other movies this year have impressed me quite a bit, but, like, this was just such an amazing, like, movie experience for me. What'd you guys think of the score, by the way?
Pretty good.
Yeah, it was done by Randy Newman.
Oh, really?
Oh.
Yeah, and it was weird because during the movie, I was like, this sounds like Pixar. like the music sounds so much like a Pixar kind of movie. And like, I was thinking more along the lines of like Michael Giacchino I think it's Michael Giacchino that did Up, but I kept thinking like, it sounded so much like the soundtrack to Up to me.
Wow.
And I thought like, that's kind of fitting because that's, there's a lot of like, they share some similar themes and everything to an extent. But then I saw in the credits, I was like, oh, it was scored by Randy Newman. Yeah, Michael Giacchino did the score for Up, and Randy Newman did Marriage Story. But yeah, I don't know. At times the first viewing, it felt maybe not distracting, but it felt a little bit like I've heard this type of music before.
Well, it was pretty weird when they broke out into singing "You've Got a Friend in Me."
Oh, absolutely.
That was a pretty big giveaway, I'd say.
Right.
It really wasn't on my radar. I didn't really pick up on the score.
Okay.
Which is, I do that a lot, unfortunately.
Yeah, me too.
But yeah, it really wasn't on my radar.
Okay. Score one for me in this part of the conversation.
Oh, God.
Anything else on non-spoilers, or should we go into spoilers?
I think we should go into spoilers.
Okay.
I think there's probably a scene we're all dying to talk about.
Did we talk a whole lot about Adam Driver's performance, or should we save that?
We didn't. However, one of the big things I want to talk about is in spoilers. But yeah, we can kind of. How'd you feel about his performance here versus his performance in The Report?
Well, he just had so much more to work with in this movie.
He did,
I mean,
right.
Which is insane because it's not even like he went through millions of pages of documents and stuff.
Right. Yeah, I mean, it's the best I've seen him too.
Yeah.
Which, I mean, I've loved him in so much other stuff. I fucking hated Girls, but he was terrific on that show, and he was the person I always wanted to see on that show, which I quit watching. But yeah, he was obviously phenomenal in this. Like, I'm hoping for Oscar nominations for both of them.
Oh, me too.
They were both nominated for Golden Globes.
Right.
So
I'd be shocked if they didn't get nods. But
yeah,
I mean, he was terrific. And there's scenes that we'll have to mention and spoil that'll have to wait for spoilers. But yeah, he didn't. I feel like I mentioned Scarlett Johansson's scene with Laura Dern where she has her sort of monologue, and I don't think his character really gets that. Which
to some extent, he kind of does, like at the end when they're at the bar and they're singing.
In a way, yeah.
In a different way, yeah.
But I kind of wanted to see. I wanted something like that from him.
Yeah.
But I also feel like his character, he's not really that kind of person that would just lay everything out like that. I think he's more internal, and
I feel like a case could be made for saying that Adam Driver's character is the more sympathetic one, because I feel like you spend a little bit more time with him and how he's trying to adjust to like moving to LA and trying to get custody or get some kind of custody of their kid.
Yeah.
Like there's this scene where they go around trick-or-treating in LA.
I felt terrible for him.
Yeah. So you
I couldn't even see him.
Shut up. Oh my God.
You spend a little bit more time with him, I feel like. I don't know, I might have to look at it again, but I feel like you spend a little bit more time with him and his character and how he's adjusting to all of this. You know?
Yeah, that's true. He's also a great dad, which is everyone sympathizes with a great dad.
I agree with that, but I will also say that it feels like the reason that we had more of Scarlett Johansson's character having that moment and not having Adam Driver have a similar moment is that I kind of feel like part of the reason why that works so well and that why it's so focused on her in that scene and everything is that this is, by design in the story, this is her, like, she hasn't had that voice yet. Like, she hasn't had that in the dynamic of their marriage. This is the first time she's really
that's true
had this kind of openness about her feelings, I guess.
Yeah. That's true. That's a good point.
Before we get into spoilers, and this is, I don't know what I'm asking for here, but as two married men, how did this movie make you feel?
That opening is just so charming and delightful, and like as I was watching, I ended up watching it twice because I started watching this movie, and I got like 40 minutes in, and I stopped because I was like, I really want to watch this with my wife. So I saw that part twice, and it was very, I think everybody finds that super charming and just delightful and fun. And I was really happy to find that, like, I can make my own list like that. Like, I don't have to try. It's not even hard. Like, I don't have to try to think about that kind of list. And
I love Adam Driver too.
So and I think because I'm married, that scene, and obviously the whole movie means more and has a lot more weight for me personally. I'm able to connect to it and relate to it a lot more. But that opening part especially, just really kind of really touched me, I guess. But yeah, I think being married adds a lot, gives you a whole different perspective.
Okay.
Yeah.
You probably shouldn't even see this movie if you're not married.
Yeah. So what's your problem?
I'll go fuck myself then.
I'm also kind of curious about like what kids of divorced parents would think of this movie.
Right.
You know? See how they react to it. But to answer your question, what Tiny said, maybe this is kind of unique to me, but I worked very briefly at a family law firm where we dealt with divorce a lot, and divorce is awful. Like it's just as realistic as what it looks like here. Maybe a little less contentious sometimes. I mean, I never went like to the courtroom or anything, but I saw like what led people to this point, and it's pretty accurate in those respects. And divorce is terrifying. So, to my wife, if you're listening, I love you very much, and I will watch this movie with you. That is like Tiny was saying, like I would really like to watch this movie again. And it's kind of weird to say that about a movie like this, but for me anyway, it's a very rewatchable movie. Like I look forward to watching it. I don't know if I can really put my finger on it, but I mean, other than the performances and the script and really everything about it, but I mean, I've loved lots of other movies that I haven't watched a whole lot of over, but I would like to rewatch this again many times.
Well, joke's on both of you. I'm going to die alone, so this movie was great. No, it's interesting because, Tiny, to your point about the opening scene, what kind of struck me about that was the reveal at the end of their letters that it's like they wrote them for a mediator.
Yeah, they didn't just do it just because.
Yeah. And I love that. That's so great.
Right.
But let's go into spoilers for Marriage Story. If you want to skip the spoilers, check the show notes and everything. But here is a little clip from the trailer. Try not to cry. All right, here we go.
What I love about Nicole, she is a mother who plays, really plays.
What I love about Charlie, he loves being a dad. He loves all the things you're supposed to hate, like waking up at night.
She knows when to push me and when to leave me alone.
He never lets other people keep him from what he wants to do.
Dad, you're too far.
I know. It's not easy for her to close a cabinet.
He's incredibly neat.
She's brave.
He's brilliant. He's very competitive. So I'll tell Charlie what's happening, and Cassie, you then hand him the envelope.
I just get nervous.
Well, can you unserve?
What do you mean, like take it back? Charlie and I are getting a divorce, Mom. You can't be friends with him anymore.
Gee, Mom! Charlie Bird! Mom!
Mom!
What?
All right, and we are spoilers on for Marriage Story. So, yes, the way that the letter comes back into play at the end, how did that make you guys feel?
I'm glad it came back because I think we needed some kind of happiness. I think because one of the things that's so cool about that opening scene is that it goes right into the hardship and misery of what it is to get divorced. Like typically in a movie like this, you would have something like, if I think about the movie like the Breakup with Jennifer Aniston and Vince Vaughn, like that movie.
I never saw it, but
really, it's actually kind of a good movie. I think, like, it's not, it's nowhere near as good as this,
right?
But it's actually kind of a good movie, and I think it's a sort of an interesting look at a real life breakup, or what could be, it has some realism to it. But in that movie, there's, you get some happiness, and there's, 20, 30 minutes of setup where they're still in the relationship and there's still something there. And then things start to go sour and things get worse and worse. And then, and that's when the bulk of the movie shows up. But with this, you kind of jumped right into it.
Yeah.
And, you feel good at the beginning, but then there's just so much chaos and kind of tragedy really throughout the movie.
It tricks us into that too.
It does.
Like it presents it like, oh, these are reasons why they love each other. Oh, this is why they're writing it.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. And it's all set. The letters are set to scenes.
Yes.
Of
brilliant.
Just delightful family life.
Yep.
And then as soon as they cut to the mediation, their body language, you can tell, oh shit.
So cold.
Yeah.
And
it was
Scarlett Johansson doesn't want to read hers.
Right.
Yeah.
Right.
And even that, like him saying, like, well, I want to read mine. She says I'm a bad writer and stuff. It's like, there's that little tinge of just, hurt.
He had to get a dig in.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. But I'm so glad it comes back at the end of the movie because it's sort of, it was a somewhat happy ending anyways.
I was going to ask, like, did you guys both read it as a happy kind of ending?
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. I think so.
Especially like the very end, like when they're going trick-or-treating and she ties his shoes. Mm-hmm. That was a really good touch.
That was beautiful. That was absolutely beautiful. Like, I love the way that the movie depicts them severing their relationship. Their relationship's done. They've moved past it. They're divorced and everything, but like there's a way for them to be together for the kid, but not together.
Yeah.
Banging. No, but not together as a couple. Right. And what the thing that kind of hit me when he was reading the letter, and god damn, just the emotional thing of like him just happening to hear his son reading the letter of his mother saying what she loves about him. Just beautiful.
Yeah, it comes up in an organic way. It's not like it could have easily been shoehorned in.
Yeah.
There.
And it's seated so well with him telling him, like teaching him how to read and everything throughout the movie.
Mm-hmm.
Just really impeccable screenwriting. But him reading it, like what I took from it or what I thought of it, because like he had just walked into the house to get the kid and everything, and like he sees her new boyfriend playing with her mother. And like having that bond that he had with the mother and everything, and like him playing and being playful and everything. And then I don't know, something about it just hit me in a way that's like, okay, well, he maybe projecting a little bit, but like he's like seeing like, okay, these are the things that I took for granted in the relationship, and this is why it didn't work out, because I didn't recognize these things about. Like, I didn't recognize the things that she was recognizing about me or something. But, yeah, I don't know. That was my little read of it.
Well, and then Scarlett Johansson's in the background of that scene while he's reading the letter. And she's out of focus, I think, the entire time. And just knowing that she's there just makes it that much more impactful.
Yeah, definitely.
Yep. And that final scene, and Tiny, I know you haven't seen this movie yet, but I do just want to mention that Marriage Story is one of 2 movies that feature Scarlett Johansson tying shoes. She ties some shoes in Jojo Rabbit.
Okay.
Which she's equally great in.
No, absolutely.
No, really? Okay.
Yeah.
Does she tie anyone's shoes in Endgame?
I don't know.
I don't think so. Like,
I kind of hope not, frankly.
Just, like kneel down and like tie rockets.
Because there's like 75,000 characters in that movie, so if they take the time to tie shoes,
it's implied, I'm sure.
Yeah.
Yes.
She does make a PB&J sandwich, though.
Right.
So there's that.
Oh, real brief aside. Mike actually retweeted this tweet that was like, "Does anyone else eat PB&J?" raw, and it's just it was a picture of a piece of bread with like peanuts on it and grapes.
Oh my god,
so dumb.
That's dumb.
But yeah, so let's talk about the big apartment scene.
Yeah, the fight.
This when I was watching it in the theater and watching it at work, the second time I was sitting there, I was like, it wasn't like the progression of my thoughts was like, oh, Adam Driver and Scarlett Johansson are going to get Oscars.
Yep.
And then it was like, this is the best scene of the movie. And then it was like, this is the best scene I've seen in Heartland. And then it was like, this is one of the best scenes I've seen.
Yeah.
In general, like, this is incredible.
Right.
Just the way that it's not even that it is stuff bubbling up and hitting the surface and reaching that boiling point. But up until that point, the things that have been boiling haven't been necessarily the focus of the boiling. Like I said, it's been the lawyers and everything, the machinations, the divorce proceedings that have been causing the stir of emotion and drama and everything. And yeah, there is a lot of there's a lot of back and forth between them. Like, okay, she has a lot of choices about lawyers and stuff, and she has a lot of choices about like her individuality, like not having an individual voice or anything, and then wanting one now. And then him having to deal with finding a lawyer, like being thrust into lawyers when they weren't going to use lawyers and everything. And like what I took from it was like there's a certain level of maybe not second guessing, but just chipping away at his confidence about his understanding of what's going on, because he goes to the lawyer's office and they're like, yeah, she already saw here, so there's a conflict of interest, there's no way that we can represent you. What a lot of people do is they go and see as many as they can, and everything. It's like, and like he knows that she's not doing that intentionally, but he doesn't know that she's not doing that intentionally,
right?
And maybe part of that is that he has had a kind of either intentional or unintentional or subconscious or whatever control over her for her career, that now he's like maybe thinking like, well, maybe someone else has their hooks in her or whatever. There's a lot of layers to that. I don't know. And I don't know how much of that is projecting or whatever, but, what did you guys think of everything that I just said?
Agree.
Nice. Good talk.
I agree with your progression of this is the best scene I've ever seen.
Yeah.
Like that was just remarkable on so many levels. The performances especially, but just the brutality of it was the hardest thing. Like it fucking wrecked me. Like,
and it hurts even more in that, like, it starts out as like this kind of a peace meeting, I guess.
Right.
Like, she comes over to his apartment just because, like, I don't know if it's immediately after the lawyer scene or
I think
it's soon after it.
Yeah.
But she's like trying
it's in
to
reaction to that scene.
They both kind of realize that it's gotten too far, and she goes over to his place to try and make peace, and they want to try and settle it without the lawyers, and then it gets to where it ends up at.
Yes.
Right.
And I think that it's the biggest scene of the movie, and it's the way that it ends is so just it's such a perfect summation of what makes this movie work so perfectly. He has just screamed in her face saying that he wishes every day that she dies. Like, if Henry can, if I knew that Henry could be okay and everything would be okay and everything, I wish you were dead. And then he breaks down in tears. He falls to the ground, and she still like cradles him in her arms and stuff, because it's not like the movie has set it up to where they will now hate each other and it's just going to be a grudge match or anything. It's like these two people love each other, and that love is transforming into something that's not the love that they had before. And but they still have those emotions and everything. It's so beautiful the way that it's done. I love this movie.
Right. Oh, I agree.
Yeah.
But in the moment, I think it was like a lot of the time, you know, you have a scene like this, and then the characters make up and they apologize to each other, and they'll say something like, you know, I was just saying that because I wanted to hurt you as harshly as I could.
Yeah.
And we didn't get that scene. I don't think we needed it.
No.
I didn't need it at all. But as it was happening, I was thinking, you know, I mean, he said he wished that she was dead.
Yeah.
And like, he does not wish that she was dead. You
Right.
know that he doesn't. And the horrific things that she said to him too, they don't believe though. They're just doing whatever they can to verbally abuse each other.
Right.
It's a whole scene of verbal abuse.
Yeah.
And it's hard as shit to watch because I just cannot. Again, speaking to the experience of being married, I cannot imagine saying things like that to my wife.
Yeah.
I cannot imagine anything she would do to make me want to say something like that. And that's why I was wrecked after that scene. And my wife made fun of me.
And then that's when you yelled at her. For one, I'm married to the podcast. I could never see myself doing that.
Another thing about the movie, in general, about Adam Driver, he's like a very imposing man.
Right.
He's not. Yeah. I actually went after this scene. I went to IMDb. He's like 6'2", so like I'm like a couple inches taller than him, but he just seems like a physically imposing man. Like when he just like he hits the wall, and like there's actually a scene earlier in the movie where he like picks up his mother-in-law, and like she's nothing, and I was like, it's just. And Scarlett Johansson is this beautiful petite little woman, and I was like, he could just demolish her. I mean, she's Black Widow, but still,
right?
He could just demolish her.
He is Kylo Ren, though.
He's Kylo. Yeah,
I was just gonna say,
he doesn't even need the Force.
I saw Kylo Ren in the locker room and with the shirt off, and the dude is shredded. He has like an 8-pack.
Oh my god!
Whatever. Kylo Ren's a little bitch.
Oh my god, that's awesome.
It's like 80 pounds soaking wet.
Oh my god.
Oh god.
But yeah, like in another life, I think Adam Driver was like a 90s action star. He has like the physicality.
He was a Marine.
That's right. He was. I forgot that he was in the military. Huh, wow. But yeah, he, like and you know, he has the physicality of like a 90s action star, but he's this dramatic, composed actor. It's kind of a fun combination, I think. Yeah. And I mean, obviously seeing him as Kylo Ren, he's obviously a physically imposing man. But I kind of forgot about it. He's this goofy little theater director in,
Right.
and then he just beats the shit out of a wall, and you know, I don't know. It was an interesting juxtaposition.
Yeah. And there was something I was going to say about. Oh yeah, it's stupid joke, but and I think I've said it on Twitter and somewhere else, but I have my fingers crossed that the opening scene of The Rise of Skywalker is Rey and Kylo reading letters that they wrote about what they love about each other.
Oh my god! And Baby Yoda's mediating it.
Yes. Yeah. Ben, what did you think of that scene and everything? Did you already mention?
Yeah, I loved it. I mean, what more is there to say? I mean, it's devastating. It's well acted. It's not a single take.
No.
So
No. Yeah.
I think that might make it a little bit more impressive to me anyway.
Yeah.
Just because all
Keeping
those
that
takes that they
momentum.
would have had to do, yeah, just keeping
Right.
up those emotions and
True.
yeah.
I think it would have been missing something if it were all one take. Frankly.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
What did you guys think of the social worker or mediator or whatever?
Yeah.
like
My God.
observer?
That was kind of weird, actually. I'm not sure how
Yeah.
much of a fan of it I was.
Sure.
Because it kind of took me out of it a little bit.
Yeah.
Because she was like intentionally weird, or like
Awkward.
Awkward.
and
Like very, I don't want to say small, but just very
mousy and
mousy and just very quiet and everything. She reminded me so much of, if you guys have seen Silicon Valley,
Yeah.
she reminded me of Big Head.
Okay.
Yeah, because he, like, at least in the first season, like, he's just very, like, okay, yeah.
matter of fact.
Yeah, and
Yeah.
he just kind of goes with the flow and everything.
Yeah.
I was laughing so hard though after he cut himself.
Oh my god.
Oh, and he was trying to open the door for her. Oh my god.
Yeah.
That was so fucking funny.
That was beautiful.
But at the same time, like, you're kind of freaking out for him.
Right.
Oh,
'Cause
yeah.
he's right.
And
Especially when
especially
he passes out just
yeah.
about.
Yeah.
And his kid just kind of
Yeah.
carries on.
Right.
Oh yeah. And like little things that were like where it shows that their fractured relationship, their ended relationship, like the effect that it has on their parenting. Like when he flips out and with the car seat and everything, and she's
Right.
like, that is just such a brief but beautifully constructed scene, and you get this tension out of it that's like he loses his shit and he tells him to get in the fucking car like a couple of times, and it's just like, oh, whoa,
Yeah.
dude's a kid.
I mean, in his defense, car seats are the devil.
Right.
Are
yes.
they? I haven't gotten that far yet.
They're the divorce of
Childcare.
of passenger apparatuses in vehicles. But yeah. Yeah, how are we on time? Should we
Keep going.
Okay.
We're good.
So the key grip on the movie was really
I loved that scene where she's like doing the screen test.
Oh yeah.
Like early on, and like the flirty grip comes
Yeah.
in. Yeah. Just
Oh, right, yeah.
all that whole thing, because it was all very. I think it was sort of poking fun at Hollywood and all that stuff. You know, everyone's talking at the same time, and everyone has these grandeur opinions that they're just throwing out, and it's like, everyone feels like the director, and that was funny.
It's so great when you hear them say like, can she move her hand because it's going to be hard to CGI in the hair and everything, and then it's like, I need to support the head.
Right.
It's like, support the head, but just not with your hand.
Yeah.
What the, okay. Yeah, that was great. That was great.
Why is there always a flirty grip? That was hilarious.
I think that guy who played the director is like someone significant or someone who has worked with Baumbach a lot, I think.
Oh, okay. I recognized him, but I don't know his name.
Yeah. Yeah. What did you guys think of Wallace Shawn, by the way?
Who?
Wallace Shawn.
He's one of the actors in Adam Driver's Company.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah, the older guy. Mm-hmm. He was a good spot of comedy relief.
Yeah.
Comedic relief.
There's
I liked how pretty much everyone in that company was just so invested in their relationship.
Yeah.
That was fun.
And that's another thing. Okay, first of all, two things. One, just the line that Wallace Shawn says where you just hear a fragment of it. He's like, a 4-time Oscar-nominated person sucking on my... And then it cuts.
Right.
It's just so great. But that's another thing that I love about the storytelling in here is that this movie spans quite a bit of time as it goes through the proceedings and everything. And it does this, again, to bring it back to theater. It does this playwrighty thing where, like, it's like a scene has... Or it's like we've gotten to the next act of the movie, and like there's a scene where we're at the rehearsal space for the theater company, and like they're all, like you said, they're all talking about it, but like they're telling us information like, oh, I can't believe that he did this, or I can't believe that they did this, or they came to this decision and stuff. But it's so organic because it's just in conversation, but it's also this kind of theatrical kind of thing that I was really into, the kind of economizing of the storytelling and everything. It just felt so fluid and it flowed well. It fluided well. Yeah. That's all for that.
Yeah.
Did you guys pick up on that or anything?
Definitely.
Okay.
Definitely. Yeah, and I think the one aspect of Adam Driver's character I loved was seeing him as a director, and that he's like just seeing that creativity, I think, was really kind of fun, because I feel like that role is typically like if there's a character in a movie that's a director or whatever, they're usually like kind of tyrannical and annoying, villainous in different ways, and he was very like down to earth and enjoyable as a person.
Right.
Sort of refreshing to see him that way.
One of my favorite parts early on was, I think they just got home from the performance of the play, and Scarlett Johansson asks him like what he thought, and he gives her this note, and he mentions kind of offhand about how like he knows that she's incapable of crying on stage, and like right after that, like, she goes to bed and she just says like good night, and then like immediately as she's out of sight she just starts crying.
Right.
And that just kind of blew me away.
Yeah. In adding to that, like she gets him to give her the note, like because she's like, I can tell you want to give me a note. Do you want to give me a note or whatever? And then like just
and the notes that he's giving her aren't really like asshole things to say.
Right.
It's just like he's doing his job.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So good. And also, this is the scene where I can't remember where it was, but where she's like, well, what do you think of the pilot? And then he's like, I don't watch TV. And then she just looks at the TV and it's on.
Yeah.
That was funny.
Just so good. Like the comedic beats just feel so organic and just, it's so great. Yeah. Yep.
Yeah.
The kid pooping. Did you guys ever have constipation issues like that kid?
No.
Oh, okay.
No.
Yeah, me neither.
But I've heard about it before from it. Yeah.
Ben, you're strangely silent.
No, I'm trying to remember exactly, because I know like Scarlett Johansson like gives him rewards for doing it, and that brought back some Vietnam style flashbacks to me and potty training with my 4-year-old. It was awful. Yeah.
That's another thing that I loved about the movie, was the way that she, like I said, it's a family unit that has been split in half, and like you see all of the just fun things that she does with him, and then you see like Adam Driver trying to do that, like with the Halloween stuff and everything, but he can't compete with her, and it's not even necessarily that he's trying to compete; he's just trying to spend time with his son. And it sucks that like the time with his son is going to find a lawyer.
Right.
Even though one of them has a pretty cool cat. So yeah. Yeah. Once again, I love Alan Alda, by the way. Just wanted to say that.
Just great.
Have we talked this movie yet? Is there anything else, any other things you guys want to talk about, or should we kind of round out the review?
I'd be good wrapping it up here, I think.
Okay.
Yeah.
Ben?
Sure.
Good. Okay. All right. Well, so I haven't checked to see what the cat's name is, but it's a cute cat. It's in the, okay, so yeah, I'm definitely going to be bringing this movie up in our year in review episode. Honestly, I feel like it is locked in place, and I don't know that it is going to be moved from the very specific place that I have it on my list.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, you'll love it. Love it. Ben, since you've seen a few Noah Baumbach movies, of those three that you watched, which one would you prefer the most? Because I'm going to want to check out
Marriage Story. The Squid and the Whale.
Okay. I will check that out.
Like I said, I can understand why people like Frances Ha a lot. There's definitely a lot of good things about it, but I just was too distracted or too tired or something. Yeah, it's good. It's Greta Gerwig. She's awesome.
She's
awesome. Great.
Yeah.
So closing thoughts on Marriage Story. What did you guys rate it on Letterboxd?
I gave it 4.5.
Nice.
Same.
Yeah.
Nice. I gave it a 5-star review.
Yeah.
So,
I thought about it, but I didn't because there's another movie that is at my number 1 and I don't see it moving, and I gave it 5. So
okay.
it's one of those. I don't know. I feel weird ranking giving ratings to movies like that because I feel like I have to justify it.
Yeah, I totally get what you mean. That movie that is that 5 stars out of a total of 1,917?
It is.
Okay, cool.
That's not very good then.
It's not.
Right. But no, Marriage Story that's a top 5er for the year.
I could see giving it 5 stars.
Yeah.
I don't.
Oh,
yeah.
Me too.
I wrestled with it.
It's. I'm trying to think of something where I could like deduct a point,
right?
And I can't. Like I said, the part with the social worker, I feel like that kind of took me out of the movie. I thought that was a weird choice, but
it was still pertaining to.
It was still entertaining as fuck, and it was funny. So,
and what did you guys think of Adam Driver? Like, we didn't touch on this per se, but the karaoke or the song that he performed.
He can sing, man.
He can.
He had a great voice.
And to your point, Ben, about that being his scene equivalent to
His
ScarJo's
monologue scene.
Yeah. I think that is absolutely right on the money, because that's who he is. Like, he is a creative, like, he is married to his theater company and his art, and him doing that is his release of it and everything. Whereas ScarJo doesn't really have a voice, and now she has a voice. And now she's talking.
Right.
And I don't know a whole lot about the songs, but from what I've read, I think they're from the same play, the same musical. It's a Sondheim, because she has a scene where she sings something with, I think, her sister.
Oh, yeah.
Okay.
And I think, I don't know, I need to do some research, but I think they're from the same musical.
Interesting.
Okay. Nice.
But yeah, this is going to be in the top 5, maybe top 3 for the year.
Nice.
You guys
I'd be
want to make
shocked.
any Oscar predictions for it?
I love this movie so much that I want it to sweep. I don't know. We still have a few weeks left, so they could rush out Green Book 2 back to Alabama or wherever it was going.
Still haven't seen that.
So don't see it.
Yeah.
Just don't see it. Tiny.
It won Best
Don't see it.
Picture, so you kind of have to.
I know. I'd like to see both actors nominated. Any of the supporters being nominated would be great. Noah Baumbach for directing and writing, and then Best Picture.
Definitely screenplay.
Screenplay. Yeah.
I think it's got a shot at original screenplay. I don't. Probably have to give me some more time to think of other nominees.
Right.
It's a great screenplay.
Yeah.
I think it'll be a nominee for Best Picture.
Yeah, I think so too. I hope it wins a few, not
me
just
too.
nominations. I hope it's that good.
Mm-hmm.
This this is a big year. Weirdly enough, animated movies, nothing. Like it's a crapshoot.
Is it really?
Yeah, it's not. So Peek Behind the Curtain in the IFJA thing, they were talking about so this is so stupid. They were talking about what is it? Oh my God, what am I saying? They were talking about the lack of animated movies, and one of the members said, like, well, we have a week. Can someone make an award-worthy animated movie? So I drew a stick figure of a person waving and put a cover on it that said Waves 2, a Matt Hurt joint, and I turned it into a GIF, and they did not respond to it.
Oh my, that's a bummer.
That's fine. But yeah, I was just like, Waves 2. Yeah. Yeah, I think that'll do it for this review. Are we good? Yeah.
Yep.
Okay. Look forward to our very lengthy report that we're going to be submitting to the Senate or Congress or whoever submitted
The
whatever.
Academy.
The Academy. Yes,
Academy.
there you go.
Nice.
Shall we do a quick lightning potpourri?
Yeah.
Are you guys good?
Sure. Cool with that. Yeah.
Okay, cool. Ooh, this is exciting. All right, so we're going to do a round of potpourri, which is a section of the podcast where we talk about things we're looking forward to, things we watch, everything, anything we want, as long as it smells good. And that reminds me, before we get to that, there was a really stupid Twitter kind of trend or meme or whatever that was like side-by-side pictures of like a man and woman in amorous pose, and then the left side was like a picture of the poster for The Irishman or whatever. It was like say something that you can say something that you what's something that you can say during sex while watching The Irishman. And that's turned into a lot of different variations and stuff, but I posted this is so dumb. What's something you can say during sex, but also while listening to the Obsessive Viewer podcast? And I'll go ahead and say it. I said, here's what I came up with. Get to the point already. This is way too long. Stop talking about your cat. I'm going to amend this because I've thought of better wording, but we just need potpourri. Stop stuttering and stop asking me to pay you for this.
That's pretty good.
Yeah, and then friend of the show Robert in Utah replied with also, it's just a little baby.
Oh my God.
Yep. And then I did a bonus anthology edition that was like, why am I doing this by myself?
Nice.
So having said that,
that's good.
So having said that, we're gonna go into potpourri. Who wants to get us kicked off?
Ben, since you're the guest, you can start first. Kick us off.
I can do a quick Apple TV update.
Nice.
I'm sure everyone has been on pins and needles waiting for that.
I kind of am, because I don't have Apple TV yet, and
You don't want it.
Okay.
It's still not really worth the price of admission.
Okay.
Although, do you have any new Apple devices?
No.
Okay. I only have it because I got a new iPhone before it launched.
Okay.
And so I got a year free.
Okay.
Otherwise, I would not be subscribing. So last time I watched the pilots of the 4 kind of main series.
Yeah.
Since then, I finished season 1 of Dickinson, which I kind of liked, surprisingly. It's about Emily Dickinson starring Haley Steinfeld. It's got Jane Krakowski, who is criminally underused. I think when I talked about it last time, I mentioned that there's a scene in the pilot where she talks to Death, who is played by Wiz Khalifa, and they smoke a blunt together.
Wow.
But since then,
I don't know if you mentioned that he was Death.
yeah,
Okay.
it's like a dream sequence.
Okay,
Obviously,
my
but-
memory was just that Emily Dickinson was talking to Wiz Khalifa and they were getting high.
Oh yeah.
This is weird.
Well, brace yourselves because there's a Jason Mantzoukas has a recurring role where he plays a giant bee.
Oh my god!
Wow.
I'm looking at that, and he's just credited as B.
Yeah, it's. I don't understand it. I don't know why they had him,
God.
but it couldn't have taken him more than like half an hour to record all of his lines. So, but anyway, it's kind of enjoyable.
Nice.
John Mulaney has a guest spot where he's
Henry David Thoreau.
Yes. And he's just this like crunchy hippie who
That's great.
He kind of like mooches off of his parents while writing Walden. But let's see, what are the other ones? There's an M. Night Shyamalan series called Servant.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
And it's about a family hires a like live-in nanny to take care of their kid who's a baby, and it's revealed in the pilot that the baby actually died, and the wife is grieving, and so this baby that they're taking care of is just a doll. And
interesting.
So the mom and the nanny actually kind of like play along, and the husband is the only one who kind of treats it like a doll and doesn't give a shit. And it's, I don't know, it's fine. I probably won't watch the rest of it.
Interesting.
The cast is impressive. I mean, there's Lauren Ambrose, Toby Kebbell, Rupert Grint.
That's okay. Yeah, his guest spot was weird.
Oh yeah.
He's got this like he doesn't play a British person, so that's just kind of
interesting,
jarring.
Mm-hmm.
But I mean, of course, it's a M. Night Shyamalan series, so it's going to be weird, and it's got twists and all that. So
yeah.
Actually, I'll spoil it. The baby turns out to be Baby Yoda.
Okay.
Well, I have to watch it now.
Yeah. You didn't expect that crossover between Apple and Disney, but I don't know. I probably won't watch it, the rest of it.
Interesting. Did you watch any more of All Mankind, For All Mankind?
Nope.
Okay.
Not sure if I will.
Okay. Interesting.
I don't know. I might if I get bored, but I'm not going to get right around to it. The only other one, I think it's a limited series. I don't know how many episodes there will be, but it's called Truth Be Told with Octavia Spencer and Aaron Paul.
Oh, okay. I remember you mentioning that.
Yeah. I thought it was a movie. It's apparently a limited series, but I don't know how long it's. There's 3 episodes out now. I don't know how many there will be. But it was okay. I probably won't watch any more of it.
Okay.
Dang.
That's all I'll say about it. There's one other movie called Hala that I don't know anything about it, but I'll probably get around to it just out of curiosity.
Okay.
Cool.
Tiny.
So I watched a limited series on Netflix that kind of ties in. Well, the cast ties into what we were talking about.
Unbelievable.
Yeah.
Is that it?
Unbelievable.
Okay.
Yeah.
I'm so glad.
The series was fantastic, but it stars Merritt Weaver, who's makes an appearance in Marriage Story, Toni Collette, who's in Knives Out, and Caitlin Dever, who's in Booksmart.
Yes.
Nice.
But
I've heard rave things about her performance.
Yeah, all of them actually.
Nice.
Everyone in the series is just terrific. But it's a dark series. It's about a couple of detectives who are hunting a serial rapist. So obviously very, very dark materials, and it's hard to watch at times, but it's just so fascinating, and just the performances are amazing. Toni Collette is another one of those actresses that I could we raved about her in our Knives Out review.
Oh yeah.
And I stand by all that, and and she's also just like getting more beautiful with age, which is crazy. She looks incredible in this series. But yeah, Caitlin Dever, I had seen her in a handful of things, actually. I've seen her in some TV shows, and she was great in the TV show. She was in an episode or two of Justified. It was one of the first times I noticed her. She was really, really incredible in that. She, I think was she on Last Man Standing?
Yeah.
I think she's the daughter in that. And then she really kind of came out of her shell with Booksmart, which I loved her in that.
She was amazing.
Phenomenal, hilarious. But then, I mean, in this, I was really excited to see her. She's just heartbreaking, and just her character is just full of tragedy. And it's hard to watch at times, and she makes it. She makes the character incredible. And then, just the mystery itself is really, really fascinating, and it's kind of hard to talk about without spoiling it, but I highly recommend it. I think it's 8 episodes. I think the wife and I binged it in one day. We've been doing a lot of that. But it's phenomenal. I just go watch it. I really the standout for me is that, because I was already a big fan of Toni Collette. I really liked Caitlin Dever, but I hadn't seen Merritt Weaver in a lot of things. Okay. But she's kind of the standout for me. I was really glad to see that she was so good in this. There's kind of a dynamic between she's one of the detectives and Toni Collette is the other, and there's a semi-stereotypical, I don't even know about that, but there's a stereotypical dynamic between them where they're two kind of very different kind of people, which I feel like you kind of have to have with a team of detectives in order for the story to work. But it has its own uniqueness that gives it a fresh spin, and it makes it really fun to watch. Just go watch it. It's great. It's like I said, it's dark material, and there's some stuff that's hard to watch, but it's not overwhelming. It's not horrendous or anything. And it's also kind of timely in the Me Too era. There's and not in like a preachy, uber political way. Just a very organic way. It kind of comes into play in the story, but it's fantastic.
Nice.
Love it. I've also been watching Big Mouth on Netflix.
Oh, nice.
Nick Kroll's show is freaking hilarious.
So good.
I haven't got all the way caught up, but man, I'm just loving it. It's so funny and brilliant.
Yeah.
Very cool.
Yeah, love that show.
Well, I shall round us out with. So I've been watching so much stuff. I was really planning with all of the for your consideration stuff that I've been doing or been watching. I've been planning on doing like a massive, probably 2-part episode for like the end of the year. That's just me going through each movie, being like, oh hey, this movie. Here's what I thought of this movie. Here's what I thought of this movie. So really good podcast content is coming your guys' way. But let me go ahead and talk about. Oh God, there's so many. I feel like the prettiest girl at the dance. No. Let me go ahead and talk about. Here's a connection to Marriage Story. Okay. Let me talk about Little Women. So the movie, Greta Gerwig's follow-up to Lady Bird, which I loved. Lady Bird.
Yeah.
Little Women is, of course, based on the novel. 4 sisters come of age in America in the aftermath of the Civil War. It stars Saoirse Ronan, Emma Watson, Florence. I don't think Pugh.
Yep.
Is that how you pronounce it?
Yeah.
Okay. I've been saying Florence Pugh. Florence Pugh. Eliza Scanlon, Laura Dern, also another connection there.
Nice.
Also Meryl Streep, Timothy Chalamet. The film critic Matt Singer shared on Letterboxd, and I think tweeted this, that his review of Little Women was like, I just have to prepare myself for the fact that in 8 years my daughter is going to be obsessed with Timothy Chalamet.
That's funny.
Yeah. Oh, it's just reminding myself to the fact that in like 7 years, my daughter is going to be fully obsessed with Timothée Chalamet. I really liked this movie quite a bit. So it's not going to make my top 10. There's some things that I kind of, it's going to come across as nitpicking, but like one of the biggest things that took me out of it was the editing, weirdly enough. Like there's some weird, like just cuts where it's like the camera cuts from like right on a person and then cuts to a different angle that something happens in your brain that it makes it like, oh, you're noticing that we just cut to a different thing. It doesn't flow well. And like, there's a scene between Emma Watson and James Norton where they're going back and forth and they're talking. It's like every single line is just cut. Like the scene cuts to just focusing on each one. And it's like an entire movie of that scene from Bohemian Rhapsody that was like shared around, like this got nominated for best editing, and it's like just cuts,
and
cuts,
it won,
cuts.
I think.
It probably
didn't Bohemian
did.
Rhapsody win best
It may
editing?
have.
Yeah. Ugh. Ugh. Anyway, so like that bothered me quite a bit, but. And then another nitpick, as much as I love Florence Pugh. Yes, okay, yeah, because I did see a tweet that said like something pew pew pew. Anyway, Florence Pugh. I'm really enjoying her as an actress, and I'm excited for her career and everything because I think she's talented. Midsummer, she was amazing in. However, there's some parts in this movie that feel like it's like her character is like the bratty sister. And it's either a failing of the writing or directing, or it's just her acting isn't the best. But it's like I couldn't buy her as this bratty person. Like she does a thing. Like there's a scene where she wants to do something with Saoirse Ronan's character, but she's not allowed to go. So she does something in retaliation, and it just seems just really like the movie does not show us the steps that she took mentally to get to that point. Like it's a completely disproportionate response to not being able to go with her sister somewhere, but it's also just really kind of underdeveloped. But aside from that, the movie is really, really well done. I haven't read Little Women. But like the extent of my knowledge of Little Women is what's spoiled in that one episode of Friends where Joey and Rachel read Little Women and The Shining. But, it was really good. I think I like Lady Bird a lot better, but this is still really good. There are a couple of scenes that just kind of gutted me a little bit. Like there's a scene between Timothée Chalamet and Saoirse Ronan where it's kind of like their dynamic comes to a head, and like the dialogue and the scene and the reasoning, the logic between them that's described as like why they can't be together or whatever is just like perfect. And it's cut really weird and awkwardly, but it's very effective. So yeah, I really liked it. Won't make my top 10 or anything, but Little Women gets a little recommendment. I recommend it. It's good. So yeah. And I think that'll about do it. Ben,
Yeah.
You have anything more? Anything else, Tiny?
No, that's it.
I'm good.
Okay. All right. Well, thank you guys so much for listening. And, I think I have on the books another recording with Fecus in a couple of days. We're going to be talking about Ford v Ferrari, Dawn of Brakes. So, look forward to that. And then hopefully next week we'll also have a special bonus episode that will it's going to be a big time for us because not to show my hand, but it's going to be releasing the episode that I'm pimping up right now is going to be releasing on the day that Star Wars comes out. Ooh. It's going to be our review of Cats.
Oh my god.
Can't wait. This Christmas you will believe.
Oh my god.
which is literally the tagline, and I have no fucking idea what we're supposed to believe.
Wow.
So look forward to that, and we're winding down. Christmas is almost here. 2020 is almost here, and yeah. So thank you guys so much for listening. Thank you, Ben, for coming on the show again and for contributing and to the website and everything. What have you written lately?
What was the last one I did? Climax?
I don't think we achieved climax.
Oh boy.
God damn it.
I'm so sorry.
I hate you.
No. That was because I wrote that one like the day before Thanksgiving or something.
Oh, okay.
It might have been Frozen 2.
I think it was, yeah.
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 Not much more to say about that.
Right.
But you can go to obsessiveviewer.com and read it.
That's what I was fishing for. And where can we find you online and your photography and everything?
Instagram at Ben Sears Photo, and Ben Sears Film. Facebook also Ben Sears Photography. I think that's everything.
Nice.
Letterboxd Ben Sears.
Perfect.
Cool.
All right. Well, thank you once again, and thank you also for paying us and everything. Well, that'll do it for this episode. Thank you guys so much for listening once again, and have a good one, I guess. Or see you next time. That's what I say.
There you go.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Thanks, guys.
Thank you. And now, here's a short clip from our Patreon exclusive RSS feed. To hear the full clip and more exclusive Patreon content, go to patreon.com/obsessiveviewer and become a patron at the minimum rate of $1 per month. Thank you and enjoy. One final thing about Frozen. I imagine like there's some sketch that needs to be written or something that's a bunch of bros, hashtag broing out, if you will.
Sure.
Talking about Disney princesses, because in my head, I just imagine one person saying saying that, man, that Elsa, she's a real ice queen.
God damn it. Well, it was nice knowing you, Ben. Just imagine
wrap this up here.
All those years back to kindergarten. You met me.
Yep.
If you had not met me, you wouldn't be here right now.
Oh, God.
The Obsessive Viewer podcast is edited and produced by Matt Hurt and presented by ObsessiveViewer.com. For a full archive of our episodes, go to ObsessiveViewer.com/OV archive. You can also like our Facebook page and join the OV Facebook group at facebook.com/theobsessiveviewer. And follow us on Twitter at ObsessiveViewer and at ObsessiveTiny. And follow our recurring co-hosts at I am Mike White, that's me, at R.A. Feckus, and at Burger_Lurker. If you enjoy the show, please take a couple minutes to leave us a rating and a quick review on Apple Podcasts. This is the easiest way to support what we do, and all it costs is a little bit of your time. If you'd like to donate to the podcast, you can make a PayPal donation at obsessiveviewer.com/donate. Or support us on Patreon for recurring donations and access to commentary tracks and B-roll audio recorded exclusively for patrons at patreon.com/obsessiveviewer. Every donation goes toward paying the fees to keep the podcast running and is greatly appreciated. For official Obsessive Viewer merch, including shirts, mugs, phone cases, and more, visit our TeePublic store. You can find a link to the store in the show notes of this episode and at obsessiveviewer.com/donate. Or you can simply search for Obsessive Viewer at teepublic.com, T-E-E, public.com. For information about our annual live event showcasing short horror films from local filmmakers, check out shocktoberInIrvington.com. And for an archive of all our events, as well as news about potential future events, head over to obsessiveviewer.com/live. For more podcast content, you can find Anthology, Matt's solo podcast covering The Twilight Zone and other classic and contemporary science fiction anthology TV shows at anthologypod.com and on Twitter at OVAnthologyPod. You can also find Tower Junkies, a podcast where Matt and Tiny share their love of all things Stephen King and his magnum opus, the Dark Tower series, at towerjunkiespod.com and at towerjunkiespod on Twitter. And finally, check out The Secular Perspective, Tiny's side project podcast, which tackles current events and life's big questions from the perspective of secular hosts Chad and Amanda at thesecularperspective.com. The theme music for The Obsessive Viewer comes courtesy of the band Loud Like from their EP Mistakes We Must Make. Additional bumper music is provided courtesy of As Good As It Gets, which can be found at facebook.com/asgoodasitgetsband. Thank you so much for listening, and we'll see you next time.
Kitty!